Hi chaps, John here, Microaces. Welcome to Microaces Workshop. And the news for October 2020. Wow, and we're well into October. It's the 25th today. Where has it gone? What a peculiar year it has been this year. Um, I didn't make any news in September. September was extraordinarily busy. Um, and the reason lots and lots of kits ordered, which is fantastic. Thank you ever so much. So lots to keep me busy. Unfortunately, I also lost my dad in September, towards the end of September. He did make it to the amazing age of 93 years old, which is absolutely incredible, and was a great influence on my model making, and so you've got him to blame for that. So in this particular news episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the Percy twin engine aircraft that we're getting ready for sending out to all of you good people who pre-ordered it. We're going to talk a little bit about the all-in-one receivers, the AIO receivers, or the A10 receivers, as some people call them. More news on those. They're the receivers that the vast majority of our kits use. We're also going to talk a little bit about the very exciting news on the receiver that is used in the twin engine Percy. There's a little bit to discuss there. There's a lot of information that we'll probably do in a separate video at some point in the very near future. But it's very exciting, so stick around to watch that if you watch nothing else. And we'll also have a quick look at the progress on the SE5A and talk a little bit about the Camel Ikanopit. So let's start with the Percee. Here she is. This is my initial flying prototype. It's a little bit rough and ready, and it's certainly incomplete, but complete enough to give a fly try, a try and fly. As it was, if you've seen the videos that have already been released, it flew like it was on rails. It was absolutely adorable to fly. Let me just put that over there. I've got a little clip here for you if you haven't seen it already. See if we can bring it up. There we go. I actually filmed this whilst I was flying it, so it's only a few very short clips. So I had phone in one hand because of obviously the upright orientation of the video, and controller in the other. So throttle set and just controlling on the elevator. And in fact, on this particular setup, I just had differential thrust. So it was literally elevator, differential thrust, and throttle that I had control of. And as you can see, it flies perfectly well. This is a lovely pass, beautifully slow and controlled, absolutely wonderful. So really enjoyable aircraft to fly. I think I got through about 4 batteries. Yeah, 4 batteries until the light faded, basically. I could hardly see the aircraft anymore. So it was definitely one of the best maidens of one of the kits that I've designed that I've had. So that was really good. I'll bring it in again. The other little bit of news, I'll skip to this right now, is the receiver. Now this was the receiver. This was the receiver that I actually used on the one that you saw flying there. Unfortunately, I knocked off one of the servo connectors, but I didn't need that anyway. I was literally flying, as I said, on the elevator, differential thrust, and throttle. what I did find was differential thrust worked really well at lower speeds, but the higher the speed of the aircraft, the less it was likely to turn quickly with the differential thrust set up as it was. As you can see on this particular unit, you've actually got three. Well, it's four ports because, as I said, I knocked that one off for elevator, rudder, aileron, and another port. At the moment, I think that's been designated by the manufacturer as throttle. So a third throttle. That would be an interesting. I'm sure there are a number of you out there who can think of a number of aircraft that could be designed with this in mind. You've got obviously the twin brushed ports for our little motor gearboxes, and you've got this interesting port here as well. This one here. Now this is a serial bus port, and there is this particular unit here, this piece of electronic wizardry, and that actually plugs into the board there, as you can see. And on the other end of here we have a standard USB port, so that plugs into a computer. And what I'm told by the manufacturers is they are working on the final user interface, and you'll be able to plug this particular unit into your computer and make all sorts of adjustments to it. So more news on that a little bit later on. But even more exciting than that, I got two samples from the manufacturer, and the other sample is now installed in the Percee. I'll just show you that there, with a couple of servos either side of it. You can see there and there and there. And that is slightly different to the one I just showed you in the fact that it has 3-axis stabilization. Yes, I said 3-axis stabilization on board, which is it's the size of a postage. Well, it's probably even smaller than a postage stamp, and it's got 3-axis stabilization. And you can switch it off. You can have it as standard at a minimal level, or you can have it at a much more effective level as well. So essentially what they've done is, very quickly, very briefly, is the stabilization is on channel 5. You allocate that channel to one of your switches on your transmitter. So on my transmitter, I've got it on B switch there. 1, 2, 3, and 0 position is off, 1 is medium, 2 is high, and it's as easy as that. And on the receiver itself, you have either blue LED is off, blue LED is on, or blue LED is on and flashing, and those the 3 modes that are represented on the switch there. So very exciting. In fact, let's plug it in. I've just switched on the transmitter. Just plug in. Oh, E-Flight. Their 300 milliamp hour battery. I think this is going to be super effective for the Percy. So if you have pre-ordered, I suggest you go and try and find some of these if you haven't already got them. I believe they're used for the sort of the little helicopters, that sort of thing. So the part number is EFLB for Bravo 300 1S for Sierra 25. EFLB 300 1S 25. So at the moment, I've got that switched on. Let's get the battery out of the way, and you can see that there is just the red LED there on. Now if I flick the switch, so I've got the blue LED on as well, and then if I flick it again, we've got the blue LED flashing. So And with it off, I've just switched it off again. Obviously, you've got, let's see if you can see here, you've got ailerons, and in fact, ailerons I've got linked up to the differential thrust as well. We just got whacked. So right at the end of the travel of the aileron, we've got a little bit of differential thrust as well. Now that can actually be allocated through the software to the rudder instead. So we've got plenty of rudder movement. We've got plenty of elevator movement. Of course, we have plenty of thrust. So, and with the stabilization switched off, we are getting nothing to speak of any actions by the servos during any sort of movement or oscillation of the aircraft. So let me just switch the stabilization on, and now, as you can probably hear, we are getting servos jittering all over the place. Let's rack that up to full. Servos jittering all over the place for the stabilization system. Unfortunately, I can't fly it with stabilization at the moment because the way this particular receiver was supplied, the stabilization works if it was the other way around. So it needs to be flipped through 180 degrees for it to act accordingly for the movement of the aircraft. Apparently that's being changed in the units that I've ordered for all of the kits that have been pre-ordered. It's all set up so that it operates as it should do. Excuse me. Operates as it should do for the Percy. So you won't have to go and plug anything in or make any alterations. It should work absolutely bang on as is installed as you see there with the motor plugs facing rearwards. So that's all good news. Yeah, so stabilization, very, very exciting. So I'm going to give this a go shortly with the aileron control. As I said before, when you saw the video, it was just being controlled then through the differential thrust. Sorry, get that, stay where it is. So great news. As for the progress on the Percy's release, of course, we've got I've done the sort of the final manufacturing tests for all of the parts. So there's a whole bunch of them there. This is for the Debonair, the sort of airliner version of the Percy. You can see here, this is the Tyvek that we printed off. This is the this sort of fabric stroke lightweight paper material that's waterproof and scratch proof, and all of that good stuff, and just super lightweight. So there's the nacelles or nacelles too, and then we've got our much loved Depron. As you can see, this isn't on a sprue anymore. This is actually on a flat sheet. It has been laser cut, so it just needs to be nipped out of the surrounding material. But this gives you, obviously, this then gives you more material for any repairs or replacement parts you need to fabricate should you want to. So that's great. Yeah, so there we go. There's another wing and tail, rudder, etc. We've also got all the vector board part, the structural parts. There, once again, they're all on single sheet and just need to be nipped out of the surrounding material. So you have plenty of material there for repairs and doing other bits and pieces. And of course, we still use the polyester plastic material. And once again, that's not on a sprue, it's just cut out of the surrounding material. So that's how it's being presented. The process now really is about me doing a final build prototype, and then we can start manufacturing and sending kits out. They will, I'll get into contact with all of you who have pre-ordered, but the plan is to actually send out the kits without an instruction manual, without an assembly guide, which sounds disastrous, but what I'm going to do is video my final prototype build. I'm going to video it with the audio off, so I can concentrate on system idle. Excuse me. Well done, Spectrum. So yeah, so I'm going to video the build, and then I'm going to narrate it after the actual build itself. It gives me the opportunity to concentrate more when I'm building on what I'm doing, and not making too many mistakes, I hope. But also when I'm narrating, I'll be able to give you extra information and hopefully make the whole build experience much more effective. We might even do some live streaming of this as well, so we can have some live events. But of course, that live stream will then be saved and published. It'll probably be on YouTube. I would imagine that would be the platform we'll use to publish that material. So, but it just means I can help everyone build a perfect Percy, and get the radio installed and off. We will of course be putting together a guide for it, a build guide, and we'll get those if people want. We'll get those build guides out to them as part and parcel of the pre-order kits. But we thought this would be a great way to ensure that we can get the kit out quickly and get people building it. There has always been a bit of a lag when it comes to providing kits with putting the assembly guide together, because it takes such a long time. We do like to spend a lot of time getting it right, but it does tend to put back to some extent the delivery of the kits themselves. But news on that as well. Simon is going to be able to dedicate much more of his time to putting these assembly guides together. So he's coming on board for more hours of the week, and so that will hopefully help us to bring more kits and more products to you much more quickly. Okay, so more information on when the Percy is coming out will be made sooner to the time. But at the moment, I think we're probably, I know we said October would be the time for the Percy to start its journey to you. But I think it's probably going to step into November by maybe a week or two, seeing as we're at the 25th now. Oh, excuse me, itchy nose. So yeah, so that's the news on the Percy. More news as it happens, as we get more of a handle on when things are happening. We're waiting also. The other thing that with the Percy is we're waiting for some products to arrive. Of course, all of the receivers that we've ordered. We've got extra as well. So if you, we'll get those up onto the website as either just a separate twin ESC receiver with stabilization. Or we'll also do some electronics kits, which are the receiver with servos. These are the ones that come with a little rotary, 1.7 gram rotary servos. Absolutely fabulous things. So we'll do that as well. And we'll also do a flight pack. So we'll include all of the electronics plus motor or 2 motors with the gearboxes and 1 standard rotating and 1 counter rotating prop. Yeah, so I'll get that up onto the website just as soon as the products are here, so that we can get delivery off straight away. This unit here as well, this will be available. I'm keeping the cost down of this as much as possible. So if you want to be able to program the new receiver, then one of those little units will be all you need, plus the user interface, which obviously you just download as an app. Great stuff. So that's the news on the Percee. Let's just take a quick look at where we are with the SE5A. As you may know, we are putting the assembly guide together for the SE5A in the style that we have now adopted for our assembly guides. There she is in all her glory. So far, I've just got a few more bits to do. I'm videoing the build as I go, and that'll be released when the new SE5A is. The other SE5As in our range will adopt the new kit style. There's not a huge amount of change, but there are some elements that have changed for the better, I think. So we'll do that. And let's have a look. These little all-in-one receivers, AIO receivers. We've started receiving them with a new number on. So these are actually the Spectrum ones. They now have, rather than an A, they have a D lettering. And I have put in a request because apparently there's been an upgrade. It seems to have enhanced the reliability, which is always a good thing. If any of you know what we've been going through the past year or so with these little units, so that's all good news. I did notice that in comparison with an old one, they are pretty much the same shape. The board on this one is sort of a bluey green. The board on the new one is sort of very dark. I would say probably black, and they look pretty similar. This one's lost its motor connector. That's why it's sitting on my desk. But I did notice that the electronics on the back, on the PCB, are slightly different. So there's obviously been some change, and I've been promised that I will be provided with those details. So as soon as I get those, I'll let you know. But the overall effect seems to be an increase in reliability, which is nice. So we'll take that. Good. So I think we're about there for news as it goes. So yeah, Percy coming along very soon. Unusual way of sending it out without a assembly guide, but I will be providing the assembly guide through video and narration for those initial builds. We'll get in contact with everyone who actually has pre-ordered, just to make them aware as well. and give them the opportunity to say, no, actually, I'm happy to wait until a manual's available, because I cannot stand listening to you, John, drone on about how to build your aircraft. So we'll get all of that done. The Ikanopit Camel. I think I've probably explained this before. I haven't looked back on the news feeds that I've done previously, but we had a chap get in contact with us, Horace Darlington, and he was the lead engineer on building the replica Sopwith Camel that now resides at the Shuttleworth collection near Biggleswade in the UK. And he wondered whether we could do a livery representing that particular camel. Because we do, or traditionally we've done 2 to 3 shows a year at Shuttleworth. There's a show in May, July, and September for modelling enthusiasts. And so we have great access there for, excuse me, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. Let's grab a little slug of water, excuse me. It's talking for all these long periods of time dries you out. So anyway, so yes, he got in contact and said, could we build one? So I went back to him and said, well, look, let me ask our fantastic customers and see if we can get 10, 12 or more to agree, and then it would be, it would make sense for us to put the livery together and put it out there. So we did. We had a fantastic response. We're still getting responses, in fact. So it's down to me now just to get the information together about the livery. I've already been up there in September and taken some photographs, published them on, or some of them at least, on Facebook. We've had one of our top customers, Oliver Holmes, has also provided a lot of photography of the aircraft too. He lives a stone's throw away from Shuttleworth, the lucky beggar, and gets to video all of their fabulous collection, and the collection, actually the vast majority of them, I think all of them, are serviceable, and so they get them out and they fly them, which is fantastic. So we'll that's another task for me to do, which I am actually very much looking forward to. And I think probably what I'll do, because I promised Horace that I'd provide him with a fully built camel for his troubles, and so I will video that build too, and might narrate it, so that anyone who does buy the Ikanopit camel will also be able to follow a video tutorial that takes you through the entire build. It can be lengthy, but obviously well worth it if you enjoy having model aircraft that you can stick on the shelf and look very attractive, but then can take them off the shelf, stick a battery in it, and go flying. So that's one task I'm very much looking forward to. Well, that's it. Thank you ever so much for watching this round of news from Microaces, October 2020, and I shall no doubt be updating you with other news next month as we go into Christmas. So thanks ever so much for watching, and see you next time.